Hey everyone, Lance here, and today Sarah Banta, owner of Accelerated Health Products, will be talking through some questions people have, or even some of the obstacles we can face when starting a ketogenic diet. Also in the description area below, there will be additional notes and information regarding today's topic and today's questions, as well as a link to Sarah's website, which is acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Also, a quick reminder before we get started here is that everything we're talking about today is for educational purposes only. Nothing we discuss is meant to cure, treat, or diagnose any illness or disease. So Sarah, I know from my own personal experience how frustrating it can be, when you try and start something like a ketogenic diet, and then you find the very, health challenges you're trying to overcome. It feels like they're either hindering you or getting in the way from doing the type of thing that could really help. So thank you so much for taking the time to, help go over some of these questions that have come in from clients. And so let's go ahead and get into our questions, and we'll try and post those below in the description as well. But our first question is, are there any specific conditions or symptoms that might be a reason to hold off on starting keto or a ketogenic diet? And if that is the case, are there other diets that could be beneficial instead?
Good question, and I get this a lot. I truly don't believe so. I believe keto in some form or another is beneficial for anyone, and it may not look exactly the same for everybody, and so that's where I think a lot of people get hung up. People say, oh, you've got to do 20 carbs, you've got to do it this way, you've got to load up on fat, and that's not always going to work the same for everybody. But in general, is keto in some form or another good for everybody? I believe so. I think most nutritionists and health coaches would agree that processed sugar and carbs need to be eliminated from the diet for optimal health. I don't think that's a no-brainer. But then opinions differ a bit when you go from there. You've got people promoting a complete vegan diet to people promoting the carnivore diet, which are complete opposite. And what's crazy is that French fries and margaritas are vegan, and eating processed salami and bacon are carnivores. So you can do every sort of diet in an unhealthy way. I've tried both vegan and carnivore, and I can go into my opinion on both of those extremes at some point. We can go dive in deep later on, you and me, and talk about the pros and cons of both.
Cool.
But for most people, there's a middle ground that works between paleo and keto. And you can actually stick to a vegan or carnivore diet and still be paleo or keto, not to confuse things. The difference is that paleo can be low carb, high protein, and moderate fat, where keto is low carb, high fat, and moderate protein. But you can be paleo and keto at the same time, which is what I personally follow. Paleo focuses on whole foods, lots of veggies, which is all the same as keto, animal protein, which is the same as keto, but it can include starchy veggies like sweet potatoes and some natural starches, which in the keto diet, it doesn't really fit. So that's the biggest difference. It's based on what our ancestors ate like. So keto would keep the carbs at a lower amount than paleo and not include the starchy vegetables, and would incorporate a little bit higher percentage of the healthy fats. I want to make the distinction because some who are transferring from a low-fat, high-carb diet, which is what most of us have come from, and they start keto, may feel nauseous as their body is getting used to digesting that much fat. So paleo is a great way to transition into keto. So the clients of mine that come to me and say, I've been paleo for a year or so, or even just a month, is super helpful into transferring into keto. And they typically have the most success. When you dive right into keto and dump a ton of fat into the diet, a lot of people can have problems and then back away and say, no, well, that doesn't work for me. And it really isn't that it doesn't work for them. They just jumped in too quickly. and there is a transition period, and you need to go slowly.
And what would you say slowly, some different examples of what you've seen? It could take a couple weeks, couple months. What sort of time frame have you seen for that transition?
Well, it's different for everybody. For personally with how I transitioned, I needed digestive enzymes. I needed extra support. I took it slowly. Someone like my husband, who was eating a lot of healthy fats already, there was no transition time whatsoever.
Okay. So someone needs to take a couple months. That's okay. Don't rush it.
Absolutely.
Kind of a thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. And then for our next question is, some people notice that when they try eating a high amount of fat required for the keto diet, they can feel extremely sick and nauseous, like just what you were talking about.
Right.
And sometimes even taking a lot of digestive enzymes specific for fat, it doesn't either seem to help, or maybe there just needs to be more taken. But any thoughts or suggestions on that type of situation?
Right. So as the body starts a ketogenic diet, the liver and gallbladder are starting to cleanse. So which in itself can cause a bit of nausea, and the liver and the gallbladder are also trying to break down the fats which cause nausea. So you've got two things going on. The keto diet in general is really cleansing and detoxifying. And a lot of people have experienced the detox flu or the nausea that comes from just straight detoxing, regardless if it's just a juice cleanse after New Year's or the keto diet. So that in part is causing a little bit of the nausea, but then also the breaking down of the fats, which is new to the body. So a few things you can do to help the process is take GB6, which helps support the bile production for the gallbladder. And I've taken that, and it really helps with that process. And then taking digestive enzymes, especially the one that I've really found that has helped me, and I've taken thousands of digestive enzymes, and a lot of them are junk. There are some good ones out there, but this one by far, hands down, has helped me so much. And it's called Assist Dairy and Protein. And it's designed for the ketogenic diet and has HCl in it. And a lot of people have a low amount of HCl in their stomach to break down foods. And so without that, you are going to feel a little nauseous. And this enzyme is specifically designed for the dairies and the proteins. I also have the full spectrum and the Assist SI, which is great for small intestine, breakdown of the foods in the small intestine, very helpful. But for the keto diet specifically, the Assist Dairy and Protein is really helpful.
Okay.
And lastly, starting with exogenous ketones helps your body quickly learn to fuel on ketones and helps you become keto adapted quicker, and really cuts down on that keto flu feeling that some people experience, that nausea. They deliver your body ready to use ketones and teach your body how to convert fat into ketones. So you have to remember you're switching fuel systems. You're asking your body to learn to use a fuel that is meant to be used, as our ancestors did, but we have not been using it for most of our lives. So for me specifically, I hadn't been using ketones for 40 years. So all of a sudden, here I am asking it to switch into ketosis. Yes, it's something my ancestors did, but I haven't been doing it for 40 years. It was easier for me to do since I had come from paleo, but to add in that fat, you have to really, wake that new metabolic pathway that has been dormant for years. But once your body's learned to use ketones efficiently, you really will have never felt better, with optimal physical and mental energy, reduced inflammation, and emotionally a lot more stable. So another possibility for that nausea could be that you may need a liver flush. And I have a liver flush on my website that can be very helpful. But cleaning out those stones out of the liver and the gallbladder really can help with the nausea and making you feel a lot better. I do also sell some supplements for your spleen and that could be part of the issue. Your spleen is your battery pack for your digestive system in your stomach. And so if it's weak or it's not working, then that also could be a problem. And, that's something just you can ask me separately about. If someone has a question about their spleen, just don't hesitate to email me about that. But your body hasn't been digesting fats for years and years if you've been on a low-fat diet. So it's like exercising muscles. You have to use them to work. And so we're just getting things back into working mode.
Excellent. Okay. So kind of transitioning to our third question here, is there a way then you can phase into the keto diet, or does it need to be something that kind of needs to be an all at once type of a thing?
No, it definitely phase into it. Some faster than others. Like I said, my husband had always been eating healthy fats, doing a great job with that, and just wanted to cut down on the carbs. Super easy, did great. I really had to be slower with adding the fats in, and I was already low carb, but slowly added the fats in, started with the exogenous ketones and the digestive enzymes, and it worked out a lot better for me. I started with the keto shake and a low carb diet and slowly increased those fats. It would look more like the paleo diet with the exogenous ketones and added to it. And then some feel better by starting with higher protein and lower fats. And then, but the first goal is to make sure the carbs are below 20 to 40 grams. Fill up on the greens, the organic proteins. I also recommend eating clean whole foods, not what is now termed dirty keto. There's a whole new movement with bars and packaged foods and processed foods that are keto, quote unquote keto, bacon over processed dairy, etc. And that's not healthy either. So just as I was saying, there's an unhealthy way to do vegan or carnivore, there's an unhealthy way to do keto as well. There are ingredients in these products that could be causing nausea or inflammation in your body. And where you would then say, oh, well, these symptoms are coming from keto, and they're not. They're really just coming from the unnatural or dirty ingredients.
Great point. Okay. And then when you mentioned the 20 to 40 grams, is there sort of a rough formula people would use for their weight to determine what's a good carb amount to shoot for? Or is that more listen to your body kind of a thing? Or doing a breathalyzer? What's a good...
Obviously the best would be to measure your ketones, and the breathalyzer testing is the best.
Okay.
Urine strips are not helpful. They actually don't work very well after 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, you can read your ketones, but that's because your body's not utilizing the ketones and you're urinating them out. Whereas after 2 weeks and you're actually in ketosis and your body's learned to use the ketones, you're not going to be showing them on some urine strips. So with the breathalyzer, that would be the best way to know if you're in ketosis. My rule, I don't want people to be obsessed with macros and keto apps on their phone and trying to keep track of things. If they're sticking to green vegetables and proteins and healthy fats, no need to measure or count. You can eat as many green vegetables as you want and just kind of see how you feel. The exogenous ketones puts you into ketosis and gives you a little more leeway than if you are not. So that's another thing to remember as well.
Super. Okay. Well, thank you. That's a lot of great wisdom, and I think a lot of helpful advice to kind of navigate some of these questions. I know I've had them as well when approaching a ketogenic diet. So thank you for these specific, solutions to some of these obstacles. And of course, for anyone watching, if you have some additional questions about these specific ones or other ones that we didn't cover, definitely post those in the comments below. Or again, in the link, we'll have Sarah's website at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. You can reach out to her there as well if you have a specific situation you'd like to get some feedback from. But also, we will be doing future videos on these topics as well, so you can check in the description or check the channel for the next updates as well. But thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Sarah, for the wonderful information you shared, and we hope to see everyone again soon.
Thanks, Lance. Thank you for joining us today. Leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and please be sure to check the description below for any additional information. Please don't hesitate to leave a comment or ask a question, as I'd love to answer as many of those as I possibly can. If there's a particular topic you'd like to hear more about, please share that in the comments below as well. Thanks again for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.